welcome back. Episode 15, What More Could You Want? My name's Jeremy.
I'm Jeff. Welcome again, everyone.
Absolutely. It's good to be back, right?
More so back for both of us. We took a week off.
Yeah, we had some technical difficulties, and it's amazing how hard it is to edit 4K video. It's even more amazing how long it takes to upload 150 gig of video somewhere, just so you can get some help with the editing because you're going to be gone. So anyway, if you're listening, sir, thank you for helping us out with the editing. You know who you are.
Thank you.
You're probably hearing this right now while you're editing it. So anyway, as Jeff said, it's sort of a warm welcome for us to be back here recording, but I did take off for a little more than a week. I went with my family, my wife, my two kids, and we headed west and north a little bit to South Dakota, which is somewhere I didn't think I'd ever get to go. Just because if I had my choices, it's probably not top. Well, I'm glad I went because now it's right back up there at the top. It's holy cow.
I've never been, but pictures is beautiful country.
It's majestic, man. Like when you start hitting those rolling hills and stuff, you're like, okay, this is different. This is not what I'm used to down here in Southern Illinois.
Yeah.
Right?
Where you can go look and see
right. And the crazy...
you can look out in the distance and see. There you can't. Yeah, those rolling hills.
Right. And the really cool thing, it's different because with Southern Missouri being right here in our backyard, it's easy to get some hills, but you're always surrounded by bluffs because all the roads were blasted through the bluffs and stuff. But there, you just see forever. And I guess it's maybe the only thing that I can compare it to is hill country down outside of San Antonio in Texas. Lots of rolling hills. But anyway, it wasn't just that. It was the feeling that you got when you were walking through, a hike in the Needles Park or the Needles Scenic Drive, or whether you were hiking, around the lakes in Custer, or the Badlands Park itself.
Yeah.
When you're hiking down in these pillars and these big formations of dirt and stone and rock, it sort of brings you back and puts you into your place. Like that's the only thing that I can say, I guess, is it makes you realize that you just need to live right now. You don't need to be upset all the time. You don't need to question everything. Just get outside and enjoy it. And when you go back inside, be thankful that you've got somewhere to go back inside. Like I did when we came home, of course, we did like a mixture of camping.
Yeah.
Like the hotels. We even stayed at a really awesome Army installation. It was a small Air National Guard station outside of Rapid City. It was called Camp Rapid. Or actually, I guess it was right inside Rapid City, but Camp Rapid. It was, like $30 a night or something, super cheap. Got our kids a room next to us, and it was wonderful. But that comfort and that relaxation you get in the rooms is so short-lived compared to what you get from being outside and being around what our country has to offer. And I know I'm the biggest, I guess, I don't know. I've got a voice that I use to say things like there's not a lot of natural resources right around here and it can get boring,
Well, we don't have that beautiful scenery if you go certain parts of the east.
Right.
You go west or, obviously,
Yeah. But I mean,
Rockies and things. You go down Southern Illinois. It's bluffs.
Right. It starts though. I mean, like you start to see some things down there.
Yeah. But we definitely, we don't have this majestic scenery that is just awe inspiring when you see it. It's like, wow.
Right. Yeah. It was hard, man. Hard leaving because I knew I wasn't going to be able to sit outside and look at that sky at night. And I wasn't going to be able to see the gas going through the different constellations and whatnot.
Oh, it's insane.
And even where you go, like at night, where you guys go camping and stuff.
Yeah, you still see way more, and we're 90 minutes maybe away from St. Louis. Maybe less, give or take. Nothing big around you, but it's amazing just the difference in the small travel from where we live to where we go, and you look up, it's like, whoa.
Right.
You see way more. But no, I remember when I've driven through Utah and Colorado, and you get to those spots that are a little bit more secluded. And it's like, holy cow!
Yeah,
it's insane to what is hidden by the light of man.
Yeah,
that's actually still in the night sky.
Yeah. And I can sit on my back porch in the evenings, and unfortunately, a lot of my neighbors keep lights on until like pretty late, on the back porches. So it does affect it. But I've been able to get some pretty good views, some pretty good photos. Really looking forward to getting a telescope. Really, really, really want a telescope. I want a Dobsonian, which is a certain style. It can be had relatively inexpensive, sub $500-600. hopefully one day I can afford to pick one up, and I'm really getting into it. I mean, between that and astrology, basic astronomy, and the ties that they have together, at least that I believe they do, man, it's a lot of fun.
Well, it's crazy to look up into the sky. Like I was telling you before we got on, like Saturday night, we had our full moon. I guess it was Monday.
Yeah,
it was
I think so. It was a big old sucker.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. What they called it.
The supermoon or whatever?
No, it wasn't a supermoon. They name them with animals and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was.
But, Saturday night, to me, it looked full, but it wasn't quite there yet. And, man, it just lit up, but you could still see even though the moon is so bright, you could still see all those stars.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane to, when you can remove yourself from the city life and all the bright lights and distractions and just stare in the sky and just see, eternal distance for, because it's going further than we can fathom.
Well, yeah.
But you see that just peace.
Yeah.
When you kind of look up there, because
yeah.
chaos is not going on. There might be chaos somewhere in another planet, another world, but what you see is just calmness.
Yeah. It's very calming. And it also provides a challenge because you don't have all of the normal dopamine triggers and serotonin triggers, right? Like, you've got to rely on things that are there naturally to satisfy you for those things. And if you let them, they do. Like, it's that old saying, whether you're right or you're wrong, you're right.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing. Like, if you open up your mind, you sit and you try to relax, and when you start getting lost in thought, if you can sort of push that aside and come back and just say, hey, listen, I just want to enjoy this. I want to look at this. I never get a chance to see this, right? And I know this is how it works because when I talk to people about it, they go, "Oh yeah, it was really bright. Yeah, I saw a lot of stars." Like,
it's insane. It's like what you see on the Discovery Channel or the National Geographic when they span across the sky and you see all this. Like, most people have no idea really what the sky looks like because it's been poisoned by man's light.
Yeah,
and it's insane. Like, you're just saying, I don't get to see all of it where we go, but I've seen it when, you get out further. Well, just got to get away from civilization pretty far.
Yeah, totally.
But it's insane to really see what the night sky looks like.
Right.
I think everyone would have such a massive greater appreciation for the world and just the universe as a whole if you could see it. Yeah, seeing it on the TV is pretty cool because our TVs are very powerful and they're almost as, if not better than your own eyesight. But it is insane to go out and see it and just sit there and experience it.
Yeah.
And just look into the sky and just put your phone down because our phones can't capture that.
Yeah.
Good luck trying.
Yeah.
It's going to look pretty crappy.
You need like 30-second exposures. That's the trick. Like, if you can put it on a tripod and it's only the newer ones, like the latest Samsungs, the latest iPhones, you can gather some, but it's not like having a nice DSLR attached to a nice telescope.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing. I can't get a picture of the rings around Saturn with my phone.
No, I tried to take a picture of the full moon and stuff and like over the field. And I took it. It's pretty neat because it was the full moon, but then you got the fog and the haze coming off the field. So you can but the moon's like, looks like a speck. Oh, what's that star? Oh, that was actually the moon. Like, because, phones, as cool as it would be to have a camera on you at all times to be able to capture that side of what the human eye sees, but then I think it would kind of defeat the purpose of what it really is.
100%. And that's the same thing that I used to tell my wife all the time, which I was probably right as well as wrong. Stop taking pictures and enjoy what you're doing. And I'm a hypocrite because I like to take pictures too. But my point was, you might want to not take so many photos. Maybe you just sit back and enjoy the moment for a moment, And that's all my point was. And I don't know if I was right or not, but I do still prefer to see things with a naked eye versus a photo. But now it's more like, that's really beautiful, and I want to capture that so I can go back and look at it again, or maybe show somebody else so they can appreciate it, right? So maybe trying not to be like, hey, you should or shouldn't do that, right? I guess what I'm getting at is I've finally realized that I don't need to say anything to my wife about any of that. She wants to take pictures 24 hours a day, so be it. You know what I mean?
And everyone, can relive those moments differently. Like I told you when, I hiked the Grand Canyon with my mom, And after she goes, you took no photos of us. I took literally the landscape.
Yeah, man.
Because I took pictures of things like, wow, that is so cool. Like, look how colorful that was. And I thought it was so badass because, you know, little camera, you know, had the highest little handheld megapixel camera you could have at the time before, you know, it had to be one of these bad boys.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was so cool. I'm like, oh, yeah, it was here. And like, I could recall everywhere in the trail where we were. It's like, so I would have taken pictures of what, the backs of the people in front of me or the back of you guys, like faces, like
yeah, totally.
You staring at the ground or like, you know, kind of out at an angle. How great of pictures would that not have been?
Right.
Because you're hiking, your focus is the scenery, but also your safety of where your footing's going.
Yeah.
So I took pictures of, you know, nature.
Yeah. It's, you know, I hear that. I remember we were on one of our first hikes last week. And it was at Badlands. And if you've never seen pictures, you got to look it up so you know what we're talking about. But I remember on some of the walks where I was like the same thing. It was like, man, I've got to watch my footing. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. And then I realized that was all one thing. That was all the same thing.
Yes.
It was the imagery that you did get to see. It was the foot placement, the hand holds. It was the slip and the rocks flew, but I was prepared for it. That whole thing needs to be looked at as a collective thing, not just, well, I couldn't see a whole lot because I had to do this or that. Wah. No, man, you did it. You were in it. You were doing the work so you could get to the end and see the prize.
I think when you're out doing those kind of hikes in nature, if you can remove yourself from the technology and the phones and the things, I get you're going to take pictures, but if you can kind of remove, I think your senses naturally take over to, okay, cool. I know my footing's good. Oh, the touch of the rock, or you know, you brush by a tree branch, your senses become alive, and I think even more heightened because you're in nature.
Yep.
And you catch those things much more. Yes, you're gonna still, but like I said, if you're constantly trying to hold a device to focus on that perfect shot, you're really missing the key concept of why you're there.
Yeah.
But you're dulling those senses because your senses are now focused on that camera, that phone, to capture that moment. You're not focusing on, oh, is that ground loose? Oop, I better put my hand on the wall so I don't slip.
Yeah.
Or you're not really focusing on the things that you should. And I think that is when then you would be like, oh, shit.
Yeah. You know, and speaking of last week again, it was very, very, formative for me. Mm-hmm. You know, both outwardly and inwardly. Like, and what I mean by that is inwardly, I was given the opportunity to focus on nature, so I wasn't so hyper-focused on what those around me were doing and how I could change or better that. It was none of that. For the first time in my adult life, I took a trip where I was just really invested in myself. But then outwardly, that allowed me to be more caring and more coaching instead of directing. And by coaching, I mean, if my child was going to hurt themselves, I'd lend a hand. Otherwise, I shut the hell up and let them do their thing so they can grow. I never looked at any of this in that light before, and I don't know why other than I was in the perfect place at the perfect time. Mm-hmm. And I was being allowed to see those things. I was being shown those things through actions, through my missteps, through whatever. I was being handed a gift. And even though my wife and I didn't get along the whole time, and that's a whole other story, but we're getting better with that. My God, man, it told me more than ever that I need to get out there and do that more. Like, I need less of a roof over my head and more of that.
Well, it's kind of like that little poem that I read you from InQ, author. Great book. Apologies, I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. Just InQ, literally IN-Q.
Right.
Great poem book. Talking about the house of, you know, he talks in his poem, I wanted to have this massive house, but then he kind of realizes, oh, I want to have a nice home, but not such a big home. I want to have all this nice stuff, but not so nice that everyone goes, I wonder what he paid for it. And it kind of gets to the point in the very last paragraph of that poem is the house isn't a home unless everyone is in alignment, is that you kind of see when you get out in nature more that, yes, we have these fabulous homes, but they need to be these places of quote unquote sanctuary that they have to feel like home. Home is a different definition to everyone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, really.
And so, like, you go out in nature, experience, reset. Mm-hmm. And I think when you come home, you have a greater appreciation for those things because it's like, yeah, it's fun to live in a tent or hike or rough it if you're going to go that route. But you come back to your home, it's like, wow, we are truly blessed that we have this. And then, you kind of look at, you really don't need all these things as you kind of look across your home. You're like, oh, we really don't need this, this, and that. But
right, yeah.
It's those things. Like my wife, her thing's interior design, so run wild with it, girl. Like, and she's done a phenomenal job with her house, and might as well use this time to, make the house, change it, because we hadn't changed it since literally moving in. A few things, so it's like, all right, needs a little overhaul, but you appreciate those things a little more. At least I do. Like when we go away for a weekend or you spend more days outside or something, it's just like you come back in, it's like, wow. Like even this morning, we sat outside for maybe an hour. Beautiful morning, went back inside, eating breakfast, and, like meditating, and then, after my meditation, it's like I'm in the bedroom. I'm like, wow, our master bedroom's been totally transformed.
Yeah.
And then like you go to that other room in the house, it's just like, I'm blessed. This is great.
Beyond belief.
And I think that's a thing that if you can get out into nature more, even if you don't live, you're not going to do like you guys did,
right?
A two-day drive type thing to get to your destination. Maybe you just go to the park that has, in your area. Maybe you're in a bigger city. Hell, like even if you're in New York, Central Park, never been there, but looks pretty cool from the pictures. That's about your closest thing to getting away from.
I would also say though that would you agree that it's far better to be out walking on like a dirt, like single trail, sort of like or single track trail, sort of like a mountain bike path?
Yes.
Versus concrete.
Yes.
That concrete is a barrier between you and the earth.
You don't get the connection because it's man that has forced its footprint upon the earth. This is where you have to go.
Right.
Versus like if you go on the trail, typically some trails are, that's where water has run. It's a small creek kind of thing, terrain has done it. But like locally, you can go to, SIUE. You can go through their foothills. So they're not foothills, just bluffs. Yeah. But
it's rolling hills. It's just fun.
Yeah, it is, really is.
Yeah. Are you talking about the trails back by the airplane, the RC?
There's there, because that's where the cross-country course is.
Yeah, that's where we used to mountain bike a lot. That's
running those in college and track. But no, there's plenty too. If you go down to the track, there's some that go up in those bluffs. You just got to comb your way to find the dirt.
Right.
The trees kind of block it this time of year. But no, like I agree. If you're on the paved path, you're going where man told you to go versus the dirt path. That could have been Mother Nature's way of you need to walk this way.
That's right, man. There's a big difference. It's and not that it's bad. Like you're outside, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But if you really, really want to stoke that fire,
yes,
get out there and get where you're not walking on a path. Like, and we don't mean like go foraging through the woods and making your own path. No, just like pick a place where you can actually be on the ground.
Yes.
Right. Like because if you notice concrete, what happens to concrete or pavement after a while?
Nature takes it back.
The earth tells it where it's going to go.
It cracks, it crumbles.
Exactly, man. And if that's not a sign and a metaphor for so many other things, I don't know what is, man. Like that says a lot. Like, so stick to the places where you might be able to really be in contact with nature. And if you don't believe that this stuff's real, while you're out there, and you don't have to let anybody know you did it. And I'm going to say it here for you. So I'll let everybody poke me, but I want you to go find a tree and put your hands on it, a living one. While you're out there, close your eyes and breathe. Try not to think about anything else than what it feels like in your hands. And you come back and you tell us what it did. You come back and you tell us how you felt.
There's studies galore. Every great philosopher, thinker, scientist says there's something about removing yourself and being in that, and now's not a bad time to detox, before the madness of the school year starts. My wife and I, Kelly, some of our friends, we saw in their post, I think 30 plus days, their two kids, they removed all devices. They could not play video games. They had no phone, no online, nothing. Like she's like, oh, they survived because she talked about all they wanted to do is that, we kind of joked with our daughter this morning, like, past couple of days, I want to go outside. Okay, let's go outside.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm kind of bored. I'm like, well, yeah, we're in our own backyard. You're limited to what you're going to do. But it's like, there's so many things we can do outside or, go places to do. So it's kind of like one of those things like technology is cool, but when you can remove it for a while, like I'm telling you, when it felt so good when I didn't have to be tied to that sucker anymore, you know, it's like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's nice not to have a billion texts. It seems, you know, it's obviously inflated, but not to have so many texts in a time that you can go most of the day and not have a text. It's like, oh, that feels good. Yeah. Not that I don't care that, you know, someone wants to know what I'm doing, but it feels good to just be at peace that I don't have to have that on my hip.
Well, yeah, you know, I went yesterday. My son Milo and I went skateboarding at a local park. They just put in a new pump track. It's like the biggest in the area. And the older you get as a skateboarder, the more fun things like pump tracks are, because you're not like doing 10 stair like craziness where you're breaking things. So I took him there, and it was humbling, because in the first 5 minutes, I was just rolling with a big water bottle and like my skate bag. It's got like a skate key in case you need to adjust something. Throw my wallet in there, you know, whatever. It's like a massive fanny pack, basically. Bottom line is, on my way there, I was, in this hindsight, right? I'm looking back now. On our way there, which is about an hour drive over in Missouri, I found myself looking back now, getting a little miffed at other drivers and worrying about like, would you speed up? Like, come on, I'm trying to get there.
Yeah.
5 minutes, I'm on my board, and I hit a sidewalk that the earth has just decided to push up about 2.5 inches. It's not painted. It's not marked. I have no idea it's there. I'm not watching where I'm going. I'm not paying attention. Like I was really just trying to pay so much attention before.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of laughable. Well, of course I hit that. And of course I go flying. Smash, you know, my Apple Watch. And it wasn't a cheap one. It was a very expensive one. All right. Well, there's that. My water bottle, a big old massive dent in it. And we all know that when you dent a double-walled Yeti or any of those, they're done. They do not hold ice anymore. So that happened. Busted up my knuckles. Just a mirage of things happened. But as soon as it happened, I pushed myself. There were literally 300 kids around me. Literally. I got up on my knees, and I looked back at my son, and I said, hey, man, can you hand me my board? And he's like, Dad, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm better now. I'm good. I said I needed that. And he was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I think I needed that. And it's true. Sometimes you need to get knocked down.
You do.
And lose some shit, break some shit. All that money that I paid for those things and this and that, all done within a second, gone. I could have easily been angry. I could have easily blamed the skate park. I could have done so many things. And I stopped myself. I said, that's what that guy would have done. And that guy was the old me. Mm-hmm. And for the first time in my life, I don't give a shit that I broke something expensive. I don't care. It sucks.
But you understand that for the fact that exactly what you just said. Oh, cool, correct. Like my cup here's got a crack in the lid, and I have an extra one at home, but I've yet to put a new lid on it. I have it.
Right.
I haven't put it on there. Why? I'm just kind of waiting until when I go to take a drink, the water just kind of comes flying out.
Right.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I got an Apple Watch on. If it breaks, cool. If I really want another one, I'll go get it. I might be like you. Cool, my Apple Watch broke. Okay. Put my old school watch back on. Like,
bro, for real.
It's a greater understanding to understand that the material things that we're so driven by, that if they do break, more in reality, you'll be able to get a new one. You have insurance for the bigger items. Typically, your vehicles, your home, you know, like something happened. Okay, hey, we'll get something. You know, that I think you understand that more. And I think the more people go out into the wild,
right,
you understand those things aren't so relevant in the day-to-day. Like, yeah, no. It's so cool, as we've talked many times about this, to have all this fancy, badass stuff. But if you're never around to truly to be able to enjoy all these things you have, or enjoy life at its fullest, what is the point of all these inanimate objects?
Right. Well, and that should also prevent me in the future from spending that kind of money on something like that. You know, I've had it for a few years. It's served its purpose really well. Mm-hmm. But I got to tell you, when I put on one of my timepieces from George over at NFW Watches, it's actually a really much better feeling. And now I find myself like, I haven't had any notifications. Oh, that's right. I don't get any notifications.
And that's like, we'll just kind of stick on the watch topic. I got my, Apple Watch on, and my favorite watch it's a purple G-Shock watch, and it's got like green in it, like bright green, like highlights on the numbers. It's still a digital one, but it's got some like green accents. Is my wife and daughter gave it to me for Father's Day one year, and it was, my wife's horrible about giving gifts. She can't keep it a secret. It'll be like, could be like, here's Father's Day, what, 2021? Yeah, like shoot, like it'd be like one of those things. Even before we dated, that's how she was. She couldn't hide any or keep anything. But it's still my favorite watch, and it's in my like drawer that I have, and I love it. But I'm also too, like, when I wore it, it's like, I was so afraid to like get it messed up. But like, this watch I know costs way more than that one does. I'd have no problem smashing this one for that one. It's just
yes. See,
it's a more simplistic of a thing. Even if they didn't give it to me, it's the fact, even though that I can understand that I just need a watch to tell time. I don't need it to tell my notifications and the cool features that Apple does. Like, ooh, how many calories did I burn? How far did I walk? Yeah, I like those because it pushes me on my own. But like,
right. I think that
I existed before these existed.
That's right.
So
yeah.
I can deal with it too. I didn't know what I did in a day. Cool,
dude. I used to run with a Sony Walkman on my hip when I was a kid. Right, like headphones, like wired, like.
I remember bike and have my CD player in my bag. I hit a bump. Oh, shit, gotta stop.
Well, the cassettes,
skip the CD.
Dude, the cassettes when you ran, and I don't know the real name for it, but I do know what we used to call a tone in the military that sounded like this. But when the cassette player would shake, it would warble or wobble. It would be like wah wah wah. It was weird, like almost like a cat
the tape
sound.
would be
the tape's moving,
a little distorted in the sound because it's doing that on the ribbon.
Exactly. Yeah. So I guess my point with that is, like, if I broke my Apple Watch, all right, let's compare apples to apples here. Wow, what a pun that was. And you say an Apple Watch versus something like this that I got from a good friend that was part of a special operator's like fundraising mission, right? If I crush this, I don't get another one. I do not get another one.
I would even say I have, because I don't know the meaning behind it. I'd be more pissed if that broke looking at it, and I've seen you wear it before anyway.
Totally, yeah.
Then this is like...
You can go buy another one of those.
Because guess what? Apple's got 1 billion of these suckers sitting on a shelf.
That's right. And if you really want to spend the money on it, you can go do it. What I'm saying here, the overarching picture, what I'm trying to paint is anything that you lose along the way, along the journey, you don't have to replace.
No.
You don't have to replace it. If you feel like you need to replace it, why don't you try to replace it with something that's a little more simple and not so technology driven and requires or relies on other things, right? I would love to go for a run with my Apple Watch and my AirPods. It's a brilliant pairing. I can ride my bike, skateboard, do all these things, and I don't have to have my phone with me. Okay, well, maybe now what I need to find then is not a watch, but a wearable device that can hold a couple songs on it while I go for a walk or a run, and I don't want the distractions of the phone. Then I'd be in a better position than going for a walk or run where I'm constantly reachable.
Yeah.
Where I don't want to be reachable.
And that's like, when I work out, I put the silent mode on, so I don't get the notifications or anything or calls. It just mutes it.
Yeah.
I do that when I work out. And I like it because I don't want distraction. I don't even have to now, which is fine. But I still do it as a habit. Like because I usually, like I said, I listen to podcasts occasionally. I listen to music when I lift, but like I do that because I don't want to interrupting. Or like, the other day we went for, was it yesterday? Yeah, I think yesterday we went on a couple walks. I brought my phone with me just in case, because we're out walking around. Kelly didn't bring hers, but if we need it because we were getting away from the house, had it on silent, and that silence. So if someone called me or something, nothing would happen. But I have it for the safety aspect. Is why I put it in my pocket, because
totally,
we're getting away from the house. But no, like I'm all with that with these devices. Put that stuff on silence or do not disturb, and understand that you can function and wholeheartedly focus on whatever it is you're doing.
Well, it's a stepping stone too. Like if you want to be on Facebook less, which is like something I'm trying to do, I'm trying to find another social media platform that I can dictate how I use it more. Because Facebook is, Dude, everything is so muddy. Everything's so murky. Like, you can't even set your own timeline up to show things in a certain order. It's just, and it always goes back to however they want to show it to you. Well, I'm not going to rely on somebody else for dopamine.
You don't want the AI telling you what to do anymore?
Yeah. I don't want my serotonin levels being dictated by Facebook.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg, anybody else. Nobody, not even anybody in my neighborhood or my house. Nobody. Me first. And then somebody else. So I think that turn off notifications. That's it. Just turn off notifications and tell me how you feel about yourself when you turn notifications off and nothing has come up, but you still pull your phone out to look at it.
What if
you're looking for a rush?
Your anxiety levels there.
Yeah,
I was looking at a lot of stuff yesterday, and I was like, "What have you been looking at?" And I was like, "Oh, I was reading things on Instagram, things I follow, a lot of the philosophy, mindset things.
Right.
I like guns, and I've been looking at the new Bronco stuff and Jeep. I just look at car stuff lately, and I like reading fitness.
That Bronco's got you, bro.
Yeah, like I look at fitness stuff, and then I like guns and stuff, so I'll look at different things and read things, or I watch guys that do competition shootings, because it's like we don't have a lot of that kind of stuff around here, but it's like, hopefully world will go back to normal and go out and do some of these things.
Sure, man.
But that I'll read, but it's just like, I'm looking at things that interest me, not just scrolling just aimlessly trying to find like, oh, that's cool. No, like, that's what I do. Like, I'm looking for things that genuinely interest me, that I enjoy, to continue learning on them, not just exactly like you said, trying to fill that dopamine level of, ooh, cool, cool. Now I liked all these people, maybe they'll like me, which lo and behold, a lot of people on social media, that is what their whole driven aspect is. If I go out and comment XX to this, I'll get this back in return. Great. Good.
Yeah. And it sucks too, because I've allowed myself to sort of let some friendships go, or even just, I can't even call them all friendships. Just acquaintances, but some good friends from like way back. And it's not because I don't love them. I do. I care about them. But their day-to-day stuff that is not in line with my morals and ethics and how I feel, then why should I keep that around me? Because it affects me.
I think everyone just grows in a sense. We'll use the word grows in a different sense of where you're at in your point in life.
Right.
A lot of, things I was a part of, I was way different than most of the people I was surrounded by every day, just because, well, one, I was older, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But where I was at in my life, these other people had not got to yet. Yeah. So what they found and enjoyed to do, I had either done it or never interested me.
Right.
And I was beyond it. That doesn't make me better. It's just that we're all at different points in our life that you don't align. Right. And I think with relationships, you get in different times in your lives and your alignment doesn't align anymore. Now you're still friends, you still care, and like, oh, hey man, I love you, this and that. Your alignment gets off with certain people and you just go different. It's not that you're above or beyond them, you're just at a different alignment, and then maybe their life moves along and now you're back on that same wavelength.
Right.
So, and it's just a different thing, I think, of life. And that's with a lot of people that I worked with previously and stuff like that. We were on different wavelengths because nobody understood, the things of where I was at in my life, and they all will get there in time. And then, we'll be on that wavelength again together.
We hope so. Right. Yeah. And that's even, would you say that that's even inside your house? Right. Because I know with me, my wife and I, our wavelengths are historically, they've only been meshed up every few days or every week or so, but now it's starting to get to where we're on that same frequency, if you will, more often and a little easier.
I'd say since the COVID nonsense, that my wife and I have been on that wavelength. You're going to have your days of each of these on a different wave in a sense, but no, I say that we've been more like this because we've both been doing things to better ourselves, better our family, getting back to the things that we enjoy that bring us happiness, not doing things because we have to do those things. You still have to do those things in life, but when you can remove those things, those poisons, those quote unquote parasites, as we talked about in the book.
Yeah,
we talked
man.
about beforehand.
Yeah.
That's what the author refers it to. Is that you remove those kind of parasites and stuff, or those poisons in life, you can get back on a more alignment with
Totally.
either your significant other, spouse, your kids, family, friends, whomever. Certain things can kind of keep that from connecting, but also too, people are always at different points in their life, and you're not always going to line up. But that's fine. That doesn't mean that you just cut those ties. But again, I think it all ties back to just the growth of life. Of you see things a little different. Like if you rewound it, probably 10, 15 years ago, and you talk about that skateboarding story, you probably would have been pissed off your ass.
Oh, yeah.
If this got broke.
Yeah.
I will put my hand up and say, yes, if I fell and destroyed that, but I could say like, my phone at times doesn't work. And it's like, should I go get a new one? It has some issue. Yeah, but I don't want to buy a new phone.
Right.
So I just don't care.
Yeah.
My screen protector's cracked. I'm not that OCD anal. I just don't care. It's not a priority. The phone functions for its purposes still.
Yeah.
It's those little things you kind of just, I think, comes with time. Not to say that there's not some young person who's listening to this who could literally do the same thing we're talking about, but I think for most people it comes with time and how your alignment and growth of your life goes.
Yeah, I have a hard time listening to people that are giving life coaching lessons that are like 20. There are some brilliant kids out there.
Oh, there are.
There are, but there is something about time, experience, effort, loss, all those things that really I think you have to go through before you really know anything. Like you can read books.
Yeah, I think it shapes your character as the experience.
It does, and it also shapes how you portray yourself or how other people portray you, right? Like if you know somebody that's always had it really easy and, the first time they do something wrong, it's very easy to go back and blame the money or their position, right? Just as somebody that's been very poor and maybe is a little pissy, the same thing. But what if the poor person was always happy and the very, very wealthy person or the person that's had it easy is always sad? Mm-hmm. Because that's the case a lot of times.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so, take care of yourself so that you naturally project whatever it is that you're doing inside. You're not putting on a show like the show of yourself, like you talked about before, right?
Yeah, you shouldn't be putting on the facade to fulfill this requirement by whom, what you think, what society like.
Right.
And I think a lot of people do that as you try to put on the act, the show to be the part. Like I know we said before, you should never be the own actor in your own life.
Right.
And I think with 2020 and the madness, hopefully some of you are not being your own actors in your own life, but I can say for like this year of my life, 2020 is madness as it seems for the world and everything going on, that I no longer feel like I've been playing a role in my own life, that I am living my life because I've removed things that just weren't bringing me happiness and things. And I think that's a huge part. And that's like we talked about in the beginning of this, like getting out in nature, doing things that are just peaceful, that things that you want to do. Those are things, if you don't ever want to go out in nature, then that's fine. That, hey, I'm not going to tell you need to, but doing things that life is about.
Yeah, things that help make you whole, not take away from you.
Yes.
Right.
And that's another thing, it's a big thing of like, again, I don't know where I've read it a billion times. I don't know who actually originally said it, but if anything costs you anything, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Not in like terms of, okay, I need a new pen. I got to go buy a new pen. Not that. And if anything costs you anything in your life,
right,
that takes away from you, it is not worth it. And I think that's a key concept that a lot more people need to take precedent with. Also with like, I feel like we talked about getting out into nature or simplistic of things of stepping away. You'll find that those things that take away from you, they don't have to be so attached to you. You don't need to have those things in your life because you really see that there's a bigger picture out there that, it doesn't all have to be tied like you think it does.
Yeah. And that leads to my next point or my next little topic here. I guess I decided while we were out and about that I was going to sell my jacked up Jeep Cherokee, my old 98 XJ. And I'm going to take the money and put it towards either a retired ambulance or a shuttle bus. And we're going to use it.
How about an old Hearst? And then we can make Ghostbusters.
Bring out your dead? Like
no, Ghostbusters. I just
totally
right.
right.
I was like that. They had in the cartoon though. They had an ambulance they used.
Yeah, they did. They sure did. But I'm looking at like these international Kodiaks and these Chevys that have got in the Allison's transmissions and the Duramax engines. You can get them fairly inexpensive with diesels in them and whatnot. So I'm gonna get rid of the Jeep, and then I'll have that. And as odd as it seems, that'll be my daily driver for a bit, while we're getting it built up until I can afford to buy something else. But I realized that I want to go. I need to be mobile. I need to be able to get in the rig or whatever and go. And as much as I love my current vehicle, it fits me and a dog and a kid comfortably, not anything else.
Well, like you're saying, if you guys want to go off into the wilderness again on a two-day trek, it can. You get one of those ambulances. You got nooks and crannies to put,
and they got power,
everything you need. Yeah, and then you could literally essentially build 4 cots. You just need a place to sleep. Let alone you can go out in the tent.
Well, and that's what we're looking at. And like you can do these little like cartridge like the toilet. No, the toilets where like the cool thing about the ambulances is not only do you have all the slots inside, you've got 110 power. I think some you have 220, but the fuses are there, the wiring's there, the outlets are there.
They probably have running water in some of those.
Yeah, they do. And then on the outside, you can access the flip side of those boxes.
Yeah.
So you can have a shower set up.
Man.
Yeah, you can have a shower set up. You can have a toilet. You can have all these things. You can store your wetsuits if you want to go to the ocean or whatever. It's perfect. So we're looking to do that. And my point in that is I'm going to cross-utilize that between just hiking and camping and getting out with the family and barrel brands.
I was going to say, dude, that'd be dope for events.
Exactly.
So I'll use that at one of our events we did for my previous work for Blake Schneider, former officer that was killed. I believe it's going to coming up on 4 years now. This guy, his family, took an old fire truck and turned it into a workout.
Like a gym, like a mobile gym?
Like a mobile gym. So the ladder could come out. He can put a rig for a squat rack or a bench. He had the bench hiddens, the weights on the sides.
Right.
All this stuff that he could pull off of it. He had a rope hanging, the pull-up bar he could do. All these little hidden things, like a spot for the med balls. He utilized what these trucks could do. And it was like, that's just badass little setup. And it's like, and people do that all the time. Like, now you see people like in their vehicles who got these roof tents. These roof tents are insane. I'm like, man, I wish when we went, like, Kelly and I'd go, on, float trips and stuff. We got a nice tent, but like, man, that'd have been so cool to have that like off the bed of the truck. And
that solar panels.
Yeah, all these things that these guys you can do. It's like, damn.
Yeah, well, we're all in. My wife has always been this person, but I think over the last 5 to 10 years, she's sort of subdued that because I was always so career driven and work driven that we never had a chance to go anywhere really. I was always working on the weekends, and especially when Barrel came up, it was like,
well, yeah, in the beginning, you guys,
I didn't have a chance. I had to hustle. I mean, every weekend. And then the next year was like, I can't do that many. Then the next year was like, okay, you know what? This is crazy. Like, only a few of these shows really, really resonate with me. And it's the larger ones. It's the tattoo shows. It's the things. I say larger, I mean the tattoo shows. But it's the ones that are fun. You get to see your people. You get to, you know what I mean? You get to see around, you get to be around the people that want to be around you.
You're not just doing it to do it. You're doing it because it provides you a value.
It enriches the artists' lives. It helps the beautiful and the one and only Mr. L.T. Woods. It helps make his life easier because he knows that all of his couple hundred artists or whatever are going to be fed. They're going to be given drink. They're going to be given whatever.
Which you've done that for the past 3 years?
3 years. 3 years, yeah. And we couldn't do either of them this year because of the COVID thing, and I know it broke everybody's heart. If you're a part of that and you're listening, we can't wait to see you guys again. But anyway, you can't do all of those things all of the time. And I started finding myself disliking Barrel because of the events, because of all of the things that I thought were negative about it. They weren't negative, but I just can't maintain that trajectory. It's not reasonable. It's not sustainable. And I would say that to anybody that's running a small business or wants to run a small business. Don't run before you crawl.
Yeah.
That is it, because we tried to do it and I did. I landed on my face, literally and metaphorically.
Well, with you and your personality, I would say if you do something, you go and you run.
Oh,
like some people crawl. Like, hard. Dude, you know, thinking like we talked before.
Yeah.
When you had the, you know, beard oils as an experiment, as a little side thing, until you decided, oh man, this could be something. And you took the leap of faith, dude. When I remember you said, yeah, I'm going to start my own, you know, beard oil company, you know, skin oil and all this and hair. And I'm like, okay, dude, yeah, because I thought it was a great idea, because you've given.
Sure.
I've had some of your, you know, the early stuff, and I was like, this is all, and you just went like, oh shit, like, boom, here are these badass bottles, here's these labels, look at these boxes, you know, all these things, because, well, again, crazy. I have everything still originally from it. I put the Vanilla 2 on. I had just a little, like I told you, I rotate to these things, and we went swimming the other day, and like the chlorine just killed my beard.
Rips it up.
Yeah, so I put the old Vanilla 2 in, and it's funny to pull it out of that little old school box to the, you know, boxes now that have the detail in and out of them.
Right. Yeah. It's all different.
Before you wrapped them in tissue paper, and I had the tissue and all that. And it's just like, even then it was like, holy shit. Like, most people would have just like, oh, here's the bottle.
Here's your pen. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. That, but no, you had packaging figured out.
Well, I realized
labeling, you know, you went full blown, but that's how you are. So
good and bad.
As you say that, it's, you know, you definitely need to crawl before you walk. I agree on that aspect of many things, but I think you did it in the right way. But I think you just wanted to go. You wanted everyone.
Well, listen, there's a lot more to that, and I think that leads to a wonderful topic. As a child, I didn't get the. And I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to sound very childish while I say this, so please bear with me. As a child, I didn't get the attention I wanted. As a child, I didn't get the attention that I thought I needed. As a child, I didn't have a daddy. As a child, I didn't have a mommy. She was a friend more than she was a mom. She was maybe a sister more than a mom. And that doesn't mean that she was bad. She was 15 when she got pregnant, right? She was 16 when she had me. Holy shit, you know? So as I get older and I start to do some things and people start to show a lot of gratitude and a lot of faith and a lot of love, I took that as a sign, like, well, if this is good, well, then I'm going to make this shit the best I can. Let's go. And I automatically started getting, as we said, the dopamine, the serotonin, that reward, a little less fight or flight, and it was addictive. And it was like the people that were in my inner circle were right there with me. They each had a hand on my back, just pushing me through every door. I couldn't let them down.
Yeah, I get that with you, because you make phenomenal products. Anything you do, you're not going to go, you know.
Oh, it's not going out the door unless I'm going to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why a couple expressions I haven't re-released, because I never wore them and I just didn't have interest. People have been kicking my ass, though. I got to get them out. So they're coming.
And it's like one of the, but those are things that it's you as the creator will always, I don't, but then the people love it.
Yeah.
But no, you're a person that if you're going to do something for somebody, like I said, you've talked before, is that you like exchanging goods and commodities of the old school way and helping someone and how someone's helped you. And that's a forgotten thing of, I think, human nature and
there's something
society.
There's something that can be said for seeing the smile on somebody else's face because of the product you gave them, the thing, the tangible item, not cash. When you pay somebody money and they smile and they thank you, it's not personal. When they go to spend that money, they're not thinking of you.
No,
but when they use that product, sometimes they are.
That's a good way of putting it. Is when you spend money, do you think of where it came from?
Right.
We should. That's a topic right there.
We should absolutely do that.
That could be a short one, but it could be a long one too. It's saying, but like that's a good point. When you spend money, but it's all those things that go what you do. It goes hand in hand of making a good product. Like if you're going to create something. You want it to live up to your standard, which is going to be, I would say, probably above anybody else's. Well, just because you're the creator, you're the man behind it, you're the...
Right. If anybody's been to any of our events, you're absolutely right. And I'm not being braggadocious. It's actually been to my detriment.
It is. People who... Seriously. Like Jim talks about, like, oh, yeah, work this and that. It's like, oh, I had to stop. But then he would get up. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I got to finish this. It's the artist, I'll put you in that category, artiste, people who are very creative, their line of perfection is above. We even throw Clark, our tattoo artist, and his paintings. And every time I've been to shops, like, dear God, dude, oh, I did that.
Meticulous.
This one, that I'm like, you're like talking shit on this thing, and this thing is flawless. I'll take it at a discount then. Like, God, you messed up.
Let me get it out of here for you.
Yeah, you messed up. Yeah, I'll throw it in the truck right now. It'll fit.
Right on, man.
Like, no, but I get that type of thing is when you do those things, you want it perfection. It's no different than when I lift, as crazy as it, you want it to be that. And it's like, oh, that wasn't that good of a lift. Though it's like, oh, but you made it. Yes, you might have completed the lift, but it wasn't the perfection of how that bar path needed to be, how my feet were, this.
Yeah.
Like, it's all those little things, but that's just being your own critic, which I think in return gives you yourself, which is why people love the product, because you've gone through that strenuous process to, in your eyes, make it as almost perfect as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because to those people, you might think it's flawed, but to the customer, they find it perfect. Like myself, I've never found a flaw in it.
Well, thank you. Okay, so this is hard. I hate talking about myself and the company, but something really neat happened yesterday. My son and I had to go to run over to REI because we're leaving this weekend for another trip or whatever. But we had to wait outside with our mask because they have a head count, and it's got to only be so many, right? And cool, fair. I like that. That sounds good. As we were getting ready to go in, a gentleman was coming out, also a face mask. I didn't know him, but he immediately called me out by company name, Barrel Brands, Jeremy. And I was like, oh, hey, yeah, what's up, man? We're talking, shooting the breeze. And he is so animated, and he is just going on and on about, man, I use your stuff. I love it. This is where I get it. I can't believe how good it is. I've been using it for a long time. And the whole time, this gal at the front door is looking at Milo and I. Milo is like, he's like, okay,
shut up, Dad.
This is old hat, like that, But I looked at the lady, and she sort of shrugged, and like she wanted to know. And I was like, it happens a lot. I said, and then I realized I sound sort of douchey when I said that, but I wasn't. I was being.
She doesn't know you, and that's where that comes into play. I own a small, skin hair oil BO company, and I do this, and that.
Dude,
to enlighten somebody else.
I eventually realized that the reason I said that, because I questioned myself. I was like, God, that sounded really shitty. No, the reason I said it was it's an uncomfortable situation for me. It's probably not much different than some folks would say that your old employer had the same issue when you get in front of some people that you don't know and they're just swooning and Google whatever on you. It feels uncomfortable. Not because it's not warranted, because I've busted my ass. I know I deserve some praise. I'm okay with that. It's uncomfortable because my focus as a businessman is them.
Yeah.
Not me. I don't want you to talk about me.
I think that's a lot of people.
Right. I want you to talk about how great it makes you feel. Good. We can talk about that. Let's not talk about what I've done to make it, because that's old hat. It's easy now. It's easy. I am a fairly creative guy. It's part of my crazy. Any given day, I could create a new expression, another product, a new shirt, a new hat. Every single day, I'm writing down new ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I have to temper those. I have to leave them and nurture what I already have versus constantly pushing out new.
It's the whole thing of, yes, you need to perfect what's there before putting more, because if you just like, oh man, I'm going to have 100 different expressions.
I've been there.
In all reality, if you had 100 expressions, how many of them would actually be very good?
Dude, we had 18 releases in 2018. That was the dumbest shit I ever did. And not like in an insulting way, but looking back, it was like, dude, what were you thinking?
But if you put so much out there, the quality will go down. It's inevitable.
Yes. Well, the quality of something will go down. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be the product, but the quality of the people working, it could go down. And then eventually
at events, because you've been something will have.
Something's going to pop, right?
Always.
And it's I mean, it was the same year that I had a breakdown. It's the same year that, that everything went haywire for me, 17, 18. And I'm glad it happened, though, man. I'm so happy that it happened, because if it hadn't, well, you and I wouldn't be sitting here, because I wouldn't think that I needed this.
Yeah.
Right? Because as much as, we're told by people that, oh, hey, thank you. This was great. I needed that today. You have no idea how much I need this every week, this is part of my therapy, and it's going to continue to be part of my therapy. You know,
and it's a good thing. Is it helps? Like I told my wife, it's good for me. It's good for you. But like our mission since the beginning of this is hopefully things that we say, you know, what do we babble on about here, is that you guys take something with it and it radiates with you, or you try it and it helps you, you know, or it sparks something in you to do something that helps you and any aspect of life, not just the mental aspect, but maybe it spawns a business idea or something else for you in your personal life. That's the whole hope, you know, behind this, that is it does something for you guys just as much as it has done stuff for us since we've started this. And
yeah, and it's done a lot for me. I hope it's doing a lot for someone else. I know that listening isn't quite the same. So if you're out there and you're local, or you can get local, and you think that you would like to discuss any of these topics with us, as long as we can prepare for it, I'm more than welcome somebody coming here and sitting down with us and going over some of this stuff, because talking about it versus listening is different.
No, yeah, always.
You know,
always is.
So what we get out of this by putting it out into the universe is a different kind of energy than you receiving it. And I'm going to say right here that I welcome you with open arms, that if you have valid points, topics, concerns, or just the need to learn, and I mean need like you need to change now, hit us up.
Yeah,
you know,
we're here.
You can get a hold of me personally, and we'll just give this one because it's the business address for now. Jeremy at barrelbrands.us. That's JEREMY at BARRELBRANDS.US. So hit us up. Let us know what you want to talk about. We can, if you're not here, we have the potential to dial you in, just like we're going to do for a couple other guests already planned. So anyway, I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not trying to finalize anything or close the show yet. If you want, it's there, you know.
Yeah.
We welcome it. We want to talk about smart things with people that want to get smarter, not people that think they're the smartest.
True.
Right? That's pretty basic, but that's where we want to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we don't resonate with bravado and ego and all that stuff anymore. You know, it's funny because if Jeff and I walked into a room, you'd probably think that we were the two guys that would do that, but we're not.
No,
we don't, you know, and that's where we want you guys to be.
One of the things is, you know, I got asked before, someone's like, I can't read you at all. I'm like, what? And they're like, never. There's no response, nothing. It's like, yeah, sometimes you just got to sit and listen.
That's right.
You know, and they always say, like, you know, the wise man sits and listens, and the fool in the ego has something to always say. Well, that's right. That's very true.
That's very true. And I found that out myself the hard way by being able to look at myself on the outside and the things I say and do, and how I am easily affected by those around me. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying not to be. And it's getting easier, but it's not easy to not voice your opinion when that's what you've done your whole life.
Yeah.
You know, you fought other people's battles. Again, not good.
It's harder to shut your mouth than it is to open it.
Yes, it is, man. I've got so much more respect for people that I've seen just sit there and take shit and walk away and just be able to smile than the guy that clocked somebody and knocked him out.
Like
anybody can do that.
Yeah, like it comes with maturity, I think, mental growth, personal growth. But yeah, like if I went back a decade in time, maybe a little more, a little less, I definitely would think some of the things that have happened in the past, like, you know, year or two.
Yeah,
I would have, done some dumb stuff to people. Like,
yeah,
you know,
man.
Flying off that, I would have been the guy trying to knock people out.
Well, dude, I was the guy.
You know, like, and it's those things. It's just, you don't always have to open your mouth. It doesn't mean you don't have to do something. It just doesn't mean that it doesn't warrant a response at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
Because remember, as we were talking about this before, right before the hitting live here, that a lot of things that sometimes people say to you is not because they're saying it to you personally. It's because they got some shit going on in their life.
Yeah.
And you just maybe caught them at the wrong moment.
Right.
Or they're just taking it out on you to displace
they
it.
could be just venting too. That's another thing that a lot of times I mistake my wife and friends for being angry at me when all they're doing is venting.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing too. Is certain people don't get, you know, the vent when they vent and all that. But yeah, but to think of, like, we've all said things that we've regretted saying, and, you know, stupid shit. But you got to remember when, you know, people are doing those things, it's It's a displacement of something that's going on with them at that current time, or maybe something that's been manifesting or going on.
Yeah.
That you can't take it personally because they're not trying to make it personally about you. You know, something is going on with you to do that. And when you think it's a personal attack that they're trying to slide in there, it's just someone who knows you really, really well.
Yeah.
So they know where to hit the seam to bypass everything.
Right. Yeah.
And it's one of those things, you know, and like some shit that's happened, you know, like I said, myself the past year, you know, in environments that I was in, like, people try to do that. And it's just like, like, okay, cool. And then I will walk off, get away, and then I will let the emotions flow. Cause it's like, if you respond back to those people, you're now doing it out of anger and emotion, where theirs is, yes, maybe out of anger and emotion, but it's because something else is going on. There's a bigger rooted problem. So you always got to remember that. Well,
you said something earlier that I'm going to remind you of, because it's exactly what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
Their emotions are controlling the human isn't controlling the emotions. Right?
Yes,
you said that earlier.
I did say that.
So
yes,
there you go. That's exactly what you're speaking to. You know?
True.
And so when you do react to somebody, you react. You're not responding or being responsive. Two totally different things, but they both come out of your mouth hole.
No, and that's that book I just read that I gave you to read. Like, you know, I told you, I got how many flipping? You can put it up. I don't care if you want to.
No, yeah, it's called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz.
Yep.
So
good man. Got some good stuff on Instagram too.
There you go.
It's got his picture on the back. Doesn't like that matters, but
can't wait to read it.
But yeah, like I underlined a ton of stuff in it, and there's like one whole section of that book that is just like I folded the pages over, and they're literally back to back to back to back to back. Like I could just
kept going, huh?
Oh yeah, you know, if I had multiple copies, I'd just rip those out and keep those in my pocket, like it's a daily thing, like type of things. Like it's things that little thing could be like a short book itself that he wrote, and towards the end of that book but it's those things exactly. Like, you know, your emotions are, yes, controlled by you, but most of the time they're not. It's for unforeseen things of your life, of what you've done, what you've experienced, what you're going through. That is what is dictating what is happening to you right now.
Yeah.
And we can go real crazy with this.
Oh, sure.
You know, that like Alan Watts, is that Carl Jung, you know, Freud, and all these guys of philosophy and the mind, and Lao Tzu, many is that it's, yes, it is from you, but it's from people before you.
Yeah.
That you're doing this. So think of, like you were saying earlier, you know, talking about your mom and dad, and saying like, oh, I didn't get the attention when that's valid because it's true.
Right.
And then things that they did that you don't know about.
Yep.
That manifested to how they were.
Yep.
Well, then things that manifested to their parents. A lot of the things that we do have been passed down generation to generation. It's just not seen in that light.
Yeah, you're right. Right. It's shaping someone's reactions. It's shaping their view. It's shaping whether, like, if you talk to somebody and you start to say a word and they jump on it, well, that came from how they were brought up.
Yes.
It's just like, it's no different than a bunch of little puppies and one's a runt, and they're just trying to get on top of everybody else.
It's the exact thing. Like, you know, we could put, okay, we'll just go with pen because it's sitting here. This pen could mean nothing to me than to you.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why?
Yeah. I carried that pen for 7 long years, right?
So, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it could be something that different. So like, you guys got to remember, as crazy as this sounds, but think about it. The things that you think, kind of believe, your religion, in all reality, more than likely, if you are a religious person, you are that because of your parents. They are that because of their parents.
Totally.
And so forth. You didn't just, you know, magically one day, I'm going to go to church. You might have. Now, that's possible too. But most people, that is not the case. Your thoughts, your emotions are all manifestations of the things that have happened to everyone down your genealogy.
Right.
In some shape or form. It's crazy that we could go back to the first, you know, flipping, you know, Papenburg in existence, to whomever that might have been, or whenever the name created or split from something, as, you know, names did.
Yeah.
Something that someone down my line way ago is still inside me. I may not be used, but it was passed down.
Oh yeah.
and things will get forgot, but certain things remain. And that's like we talked about in previous podcasts of what you need to start doing different with your children. If you have the anger in your heart, so will they.
Oh, they probably already do.
And I think in there, this gets, again, guys, like saying very, very deep in some of the things we read and talk about. Like, they say that it's genetically encoded in your DNA, and stuff like that. No different than going back in the manifestation of your thought process of years and years. But
well, that's how. Okay, so when we say living in the now, that doesn't mean like you're just like no, that means you're living in the now, not the things that you were taught. Right. So
you're living right now.
Well, we can use it an example to you as not Jeremy 97, 98.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Good way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because of what happened.
And because there is never.
Yes. You can't do that. Like, we're different ages. So when your year of what you were going through, I was just finishing, well, depending on what time of year.
You don't have to say it. Come on.
But like I was in junior high. I was getting to high school. But like it's, if you're living in your past, another thing too is like you're living in your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're living in your future, you're living in anxiety.
Right.
And it's such a hard thing with everything going on in this 2020 madness of a year. But it's those things that I think people really got to take and think about. And I'm working on this daily of trying not to, think of things in the past, like doing today. I'm on day 48 of Sam's 50.
Yeah.
Which he's changing it up and going to 28.
I know. I saw he just did that.
So,
and I'm okay because I did the 51.
Well, I'll have all 50 before
there you go.
So I was like, if I have to, I will do 10 a day if that's what it takes to get all the 50.
Right.
And all that. But day 48 of his 50 introductory meditation things. And today he talks about, I did it today talking about like, think of something good that makes you smile, or something you're looking forward to, or something you're really trying to focus on.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the first part of the meditation. And then he goes into the second part. Now think of things that make you a little upset, that have brought you some anger, that brings you a little bit of an anxiety and stress.
Right.
And so he's trying to do that so that, you feel these emotions. And as they come in, when you're supposed to meditate, I'm going to close my eyes so I can get my mind frame in how he talks.
Right on.
But as, he's saying this, you're feeling these thoughts coming in, but okay, well, what is the first reaction that you're doing? Because you're closed, you're really truly focused. So what is truly coming in? What does that thought do? Does it spark an emotion? Does it spark a thought? Does it spark something that makes you want to get up and physically do something? And then he's like, okay, now think about that. Now, what did that do? How did that make you feel? Now go back to thinking what you just thought about or what you're happy and how that makes you feel. Then get rid of it. And then for the last minute, he is like, just focus right now.
Yeah.
Yep. Taking as he always does in it.
Yeah.
Just focus on the breath as soon as you have to take it in, as soon as it has to go back out. And with all those things, it's like, if you think about just now, like that's what meditation kind of helps you hone in on, like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do this, instead of being like, if Jeremy and I'm like, I'm not really here now. I'm now here.
Yeah.
Ignoring this, which we all do, but
of course
I think is taking the situation of, yes, the past is the past, and that shapes you, that forms you. You'll have memories. Memories are good. Mm-hmm. But take the memories of both good and bad, because it shapes. But the things that have happened in any of our past, if I constantly go back to that, all it does is stir bad emotions. Yeah. It pisses you off.
Yeah. Now, you create a negative situation. Yeah.
This poison that you're sitting in a sense.
Yeah.
And now you can do the same with positive ones. Time Hop on Instagram pulled up one of Reese, maybe 2-3, singing the Watch Me Whip song.
Yeah, yeah.
And she was playing a game, and she goes, watch me whip, whip, nay, 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 nay. And she'd do the dance, and she's in a diaper. And
right, yeah.
And it's hilarious. So think of memories that do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought about that when I meditated, because I had saw that this morning before I did it, and that's one of them. And in like moments of her, like things, like the flashes that you get.
Yeah.
And then when we talk about the future, think about the future, but don't think of the anxiety of what, oh my God, I got this, and this. Life has prepared you for what it needs to.
Yeah.
And if it hasn't, you'll hit that moment and you will get built up from it and you will grow, and it can be a shitty situation for a little bit and it sucks, but you will be built up to handle what life has to give you.
Right.
That's why it's so important to be in the now and the present, because if you always think, like I told you, Jim Carrey said before, if you're always living in the past, well, that's where you live. If you're living for tomorrow, you're never truly living, because you're always waiting for tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, and what are you waiting for again?
Yeah. Totally.
It's a crazy concept, if this makes any sense as you listen to this to my mouth as it spits out. But like, you guys really got to take the time to focus on now. Like when you wake up, the things that you're doing, that moment. Yes, you might you got your trip, your plan. That's a difference than, God, what am I going to do on Monday? What if it's Tuesday? Okay, well, what? Some big test?
Yeah.
Study now. If you're not studying now for that test, it doesn't make shit matter what you're thinking about.
Right, yeah, preparation.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing of people overlook is you so far worry versus the now of prepping or getting yourself ready for it.
You're so anxiety ridden maybe that you just keep postponing that preparation.
Yes.
Right? Because you're so fearful that you're going to fail. Well, you're manifesting that. You're going to fail because you're not. Because
that's all you put into your head.
Preparing or failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Mm-hmm. That's what, my boss always told me in uniform. And
that's a popular military belief.
Of course. Yes. It's no different than what we're saying right now. And let's talk about the now for a second. Because I don't think that people really realize the difference between now, the past, and the future. There is no past. And there is no future. It's right now. And oh, shit. Now that's past. Mm-hmm. And oh, shit. Now that's past. Do you get it? Get the shit out of your head and just start thinking about right now. Because right now, Jeff and I are talking to each other, and every word we say
is gone.
It's done. You'll get to hear it now in the coming days or weeks because you're hearing a recorded version, but it's in the past. It's gone. Mm-hmm. When you hear us again, we are going to have a completely different view on things.
Mind blown real quick. So think of everything that stimulates you. Your phone, everything you just looked at.
Ooh, that water I just drank.
It's gone. Everything you looked at in your phone, gone. That's the past. You watch the news. Now it is live, but there's a delay. There always is a delay if someone slips something up or something goes live.
7-second delay.
That's the past. Every movie we watch is the past, whether it's fictional or, reality. Everything you see in your day-to-day that stimulates you is in the past.
That's right.
It is not now. It is not possible.
Right. Yep. That's right.
Only your life is possible for now because it's happening right before you.
You want to know about stimulation, and maybe I'm going to get somebody's ear that should hear this, maybe not. But if you really love your partner, your sexual partner, you think sex was good in the past. Get it? See what I did there? You're going to completely flip when you have sex in the now. There's nothing that compares to it. Not for you or your partner. So I'm not a sexual therapist by any means. I could use plenty of help. But trust me when I tell you that everything becomes better. And I'm only halfway joking there about the sex part. Everything gets better when you don't compare it to how you thought it was going to be or how it used to be.
No preconceived notions.
None. That's,
I go in with a blank slate.
I watch my kids as they prepare for school, one more than the other. But holy cow, man, just anxiety ridden. All they're thinking about is how last year was or what next year is going to be.
I think he talks about that in that book.
Oh, the one that we just talked about there?
Don, I think he does.
The 4 Agreements? Yeah.
I think he does.
I don't know.
Blur. I got to quit trying to read 3. I'm reading 3 or 4 books at a time. So this is killing my brain. But I remember it now. The sad part is it's just not sticking to say who said it. So I feel bad when I say it. But
yeah.
People always talk about if I come over here, cool. This is the first time we've ever recorded in the morning, by the way, which is cool.
It is. I love it.
Weird feeling, but I like it. I was so excited today doing that, to get here. But if I have this preconceived notion before I ever get here, this is going to be the best. Oh man, this, and this, it's going to be the best. And then I get here thinking that this is going to be the best thing ever, ever, ever. And then maybe we have a few hiccups.
Right.
Then I have this illusion that I've created. It's going to be this, 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 and this. It's going to be up here. And then reality got knocked down to here because I preconceived it to be here at all times.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing that a lot of people need to do as well, is not going into situations with preconceived notions. You're going to go see, well, I can't say that anymore, but you're going to watch a movie you've never seen. Oh, man, I've heard it's going to be the best. Just go in with a blank slate.
Yes.
To form your own opinion.
Yeah, man.
Even though, because opinions are everywhere.
That's why you should never listen or read a synopsis about a movie.
I don't know.
I don't do it. I used to.
I do, like, if, like, I would be on Netflix now, and I'm like, oh, like, you know, it'll pop up. Like, I want to read the caption. Right. But that's like a summary.
That's different,
I'm not reading the review.
When somebody told me, like, oh, you've got to watch.
Well, you go on iTunes, it'll give you the Rotten Tomatoes reviews.
Right, right. No, what I mean is, like, everybody, like, if I'm out of the loop with pop culture for the day or the week or whatever, which happens a lot the older I get, and they're like, oh, you've got to watch, let's just say, The Umbrella Academy.
No, that's because I think they just
they just released another season. So if somebody tells me, like, oh man, yeah, so it's about this, it's about that, it's about this, rather than me just watching it, that stimuli is so much greater if I just watch it and know nothing.
Yes, everything in life. Going back to your trip, there's a billion photos you can look at, and you could hear people's experiences. But that's one thing. But having no preconceived notion of that. It's the same thing when we went to Disney World last year, is going in with nothing.
Yeah.
No emotion, no nothing. We're doing this. And like even Kelly said when we were there, I've never felt more alive of like being a 36-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Remembering when I was there, now I'm doing it with my own kid.
Totally.
Like,
nothing better.
And it just, because I didn't go in with any expectation. I just went in because, cool, we're going here.
Yep.
And I bet that's probably how you felt. Like you've heard, you may have read, because you may have looked up some of your hiking trails or things beforehand, but none of those words can describe what you felt when you looked up at those walls and you saw those colors and those things and, you know, the canyons.
Yep.
None of that can do. And I think that's a big thing to think about, is going your everyday life with no preconceived notion. You woke up, boom, I'm grateful, thankful, blessed. I'm alive.
Totally, man.
You should think that as soon as you get your ass, as soon as those eyes blink open.
Yep.
Grateful.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that goes back to what we said before. Play a nice song. You know, do whatever. Read a book, whatever, right?
It's funny because, like, this is, I don't know why, but, like, the other day, it was funny because I was humming a Bob Marley song, and everything, Is This Love? Like, I don't know where that came from. Out of nowhere in my head. I was like, and so I played it, and Kelly goes, what? Like, I don't know. It popped in my head. And it was last night. You know, we'll watch Friends occasionally, and Kelly was like singing Phoebe's Stinky Shoes.
Right.
Little bit. And it's like, I was just thinking that, but like, it's funny little things that hop in your head. And like when I played that Bob Marley song, then I had to go download the rest of his stuff because I can't pull the old shit off my computer now because of Apple. God damn you.
Yeah.
Like, but I did all that. I was like, man, it just makes you feel good, but because it just came. It wasn't.
Yeah.
I really should do that. I really should download that.
Yeah.
And then you do, and you're like, I downloaded it. Okay. Going with the blank slate of your mind every day. As crazy as each day's new, wipe it. Now, there obviously the things you got to remember, your job, your things. I get that. But wipe all that out of your head of what kind of day it's going to be. Just go in and enjoy the day and live it.
So much more entertaining. Like, the craziest shit will happen to you. And I know you can attest to this, so I'll be the one that sounds crazy first. Let's say something pops in your head. Let's say a Paula Abdul song pops in your head. That goes way back, right?
I got one that just came in.
Well, good. Because so did I the other day. And then when I sat down and turned on the TV for the first time, guess who was on it?
Paula Abdul?
Yeah. Never. I hadn't seen her in years.
It was the commercial thing she's on?
Yeah.
Showing the old her?
Yeah.
So the one song that popped in my head with her music video, I believe it's her, is it 2 Steps Forward, 2 Steps Back, where she had the cartoon cat?
Oh, that was
Isn't it her?
That's not the name of the song, but yes, it's
whatever. I know it's not.
Don't tell me. Wait, don't. No, yeah, but that was her. She had the cat in a suit.
Yeah, that was a cartoon. That's as soon as you said her name, that's what pops in my head because that's what I thought as a kid.
She was a Lakers cheerleader.
Oh, well, yeah.
Pretty cool. I mean, but anyway, the point was when you start living in the now, you start noticing very, very odd
But how much
things.
more exciting is that? Just like you, we did not talk about Paula Abdul prior.
No.
You said it, and that's the first thing that comes to my head is that. And I can think back to being a kid, watching MTV
Yes.
or VH1,
Yeah,
and
man.
the music video. It's so cool. Like, oh, she got a cartoon in her video with her.
Right. And then back then, I mean, dude, she might as well have been Beyonce.
Back
then,
she was one of the queens of
She was
music,
queen of
all
pop
these
music.
things.
But the point was that things start to get more fun, more interesting naturally. Like,
It's spontaneous because you're not trying to anticipate it.
but you'll also start to get more things that happen that remind you of deja vu. You'll start to question, like, why did I just see this when I was just talking to my wife about this?
I'm gonna laugh. You said deja vu.
Right? It happens every day.
Glitch in the Matrix.
Glitch in the Matrix. That's it. I just downloaded all 3 again for my kids so they could watch them in 4K. I was like, this is going to be fun.
I watched most of those. We're talking about Dark on Netflix.
Oh, God,
crazy,
what a show.
weird, but it'll make blow your mind. I watched them all mostly on the iPad and how dark it is. Like you turn the brightness up.
Dude, we watched them on
watched it on the TV.
big TV in a dark room, dude. And the intro music, the music that comes throughout is phenomenal.
How they do their intro thing's cool.
It's very cool. You guys got to watch it. It's called Dark. It's on Netflix. They just finished up season 3.
Yep.
I think it was.
It's well, you introduced me to it. You told me about it, and I was like, okay.
It's really good.
German, and they talked about it on other shows and stuff and podcasts, but it's German.
Dubbed English.
Yeah, dubbed English. And they do a pretty good job of, but it's like you said, certain voices don't connotate over to the person, but
Well, it's almost like they're not watching it, the event as they're reading it.
they probably, some of them didn't do it, but who cares?
Right.
Yeah, but good show if you really want to learn about the importance of now,
Right.
time. And I would say that, which is, I got it written there, that every action you do has a bigger reaction across the pond or the ocean than you think.
Everything.
That's what that whole thing, and it's a little dark. We'll prep you. It's not a kid thing.
Well, it speaks to, I think, and on a larger, more grand scale, but when they say in there, it's not where he or she is, it's when he or she is. So that speaks to the living in the now, the past, or the future. What's that? Oh yeah, dude.
Well, then too, I wrote this because these are topics that we know we'll come up with weekly, and we have not showed these. I have not showed these, and then here's the second one. Here's what does that say? That second one.
It says, "What do you see in the sky?"
And what did we talk about when we first started?
We're talking about stars, man. Sky, buddy. There's no shortage of coincidences when you start living in the now. Right? And it's just laughable, and you start to see things and hear things from people that will make you smile because you never thought that you would be the guy or the girl in that position.
Yeah.
I never saw myself where I am now. I used to think people were bullshitting when they said these kinds of feelings were possible on your own.
Oh yeah.
I don't need somebody else giving me power. I don't need somebody else feeding my fuel. I don't need a codependency, and especially not with my spouse or my children. But most of us fall into that codependent thing to where if you're by yourself for more than 30 minutes, you lose your mind. You got to get there, man, and it's a beautiful place.
Oh yeah. Many people, again, like all these things I follow and read. The scariest thing is people will find out being alone how much they like it, and then when they return,
Yeah.
like, oh man.
I just told my wife last night I feel so bad about it. I felt bad about it all night. I woke up thinking about it. I was on my back porch. Beautiful neighbors out in our yard. Like we live in a subdivision that I probably never should have bought in because it's a little bit more than what I need, but it's beautiful and the people back here are wonderful. Anyway, it was getting late and a bunch of them were outside hooting and hollering, having a good time. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Except I was sitting on my porch trying to be silent and get some work done and learn a few things. And every time I heard the noise, I got irritated. And then finally I was telling my wife, I said, you know what? It's not on them. It's me. We're all enjoying ourselves. If I need quiet, I need to go put on a set of headphones or go inside.
That's
and that's on me. I shouldn't get mad at anybody else. And I wasn't mad.
yeah.
It was just like, fuck, this is loud and I can't concentrate. And I found myself to start getting annoyed and discouraged. Like, I'm just not going to do this. But instead, I was able to just really center my focus. And I didn't go put on headphones. And I just
But that's because you went in with that preconceived notion. I'm going to go out here, get peace and quiet.
Yes.
Your neighbors don't know that that's what you want.
Right. Yeah, totally.
You know, and it's the same thing. Like I was telling you, like if we drive up to the campground or go somewhere, sometimes my wife will drive, so I'll bring one of my books and I read. Little one playing Nintendo, maybe watching something, or they're singing, and it's like, she's like, how can you sit there and do that? And it's like, I still hear you.
Yeah.
I'm just not allowing my brain to pull in those senses to interpret the words or whatever's being said.
Yeah, you block them out.
Yeah, and it's a timely thing to do and be able to effort, but it is, again, that if you go in with that preconceived notion, oh, we're going to go for a drive, I'm going to read my book, it's going to be so great and peaceful. Well, I can't be in the car. I'm trying to read. Turn that off. Yeah. Or this.
And, you know, I feel like when you get that feedback is what I call it. That's sort of like you think you're going to read your book, but you spilled water all over it, or you did something happened, and you're like, whatever, you know, and maybe she caused it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, pull over. I'm going to drive, or whatever these things are. These are all tests. These are all like, like the universe is sort of funny. I think of the universe as like a British guy with that dry sense of humor, but very, very smart and witty, is sort of like, oh, you think you're going to do that? Well, let me show you why you're not.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it feels, right? It really does feel like somebody's watching you going, okay, you don't know what you're getting yourself into, and you're cool with that, so it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But you've got a stranglehold on your idea of how things are going to be, and you're going to get messed up.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it feels, at least. So
crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, cool. I think that we have rambled long enough today.
I agree.
And I would also agree that we should do more of these in the morning. We have a guest coming up, very special to us as a local small business owner, also a veteran of the U.S. military. He's going to be with us next week, I believe. And, well, we hope you guys have a wonderful week.
Absolutely.
Right? And we hope you guys come back for the next one. Do us a favor, tell somebody about this. Maybe somebody needs it more than you do.
Yeah, share it, like it. There's a podcast that has connected with you, one of our episodes, share it. Like, you know, I've talked about that with Jeremy, you know, something I've listened to. Man, you got to listen to that episode, or like that's what we just exchanged books before this. Yep. Like something like that. Do more of those things with the people in your life that if you think, hey, man, I listened to this episode, I read it, I think you'd love this, just leave it at that. Yeah. You don't got to go into any more detail, but no.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like a lot of times, like I'll use an example here. You just join a CrossFit gym and you get good at it and you like it. Well, that's all you're going to talk about. Trust us, we know. We've all been there. You join a cult, that's all you're going to talk about. You're doing keto diet, that's all you're going to talk about. We don't want to be that because we don't want people to get burned out on the idea of self-improvement or betterment. Mm-hmm. Just tell somebody, hey, there's something cool you might want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't give them a mouthful. Don't tell them the whole synopsis. Just like I said earlier, let them watch that movie free and clear of any preconceived notion. And I think we might be able to help.
Just say you liked it. I think you will too.
That's right, man. That's right. That's right. And speaking of liking, Jeff, I sure like you a lot, man. I appreciate you being here. Right on, man. Hey, I love you, man. And I'm so glad to be back. Thank you for still being here with us and holding the fort down while I was gone. And, hey, I might be gone again soon, so we're just going to keep on trying to rip these things out.
We're going to have fun doing it.
That's right, y'all. We can't wait to see you more, talk to you on some of our premieres or whatnot, and maybe at a Barrel Brands or a What More Could You Want event sometime soon. Cool?
Exactly.
Right on. Hey, guys, enjoy some Elbow Through Hammer from Alton, Illinois, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.